magic.
There you go. And it is magic.
It is.
This thing,
I could do a clapperboard.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sitting there and it's kind of like automatically, well, there'll be a 10-minute dog walking thing at the beginning, so it's fine.
Right.
It's like the TV version of 5, 4.
Right.
Like that. It's a 10-minute thing. So you've thrown me off a bit, but it's all good. You've derailed
I know,
me.
man.
Jeez.
Dude, I was actually ready 5 minutes earlier, but I was like, no, you know what? I don't need to make up. Otherwise, I'd be here an hour earlier. For the last year. So.
Was it today that you had the other podcast, or was it yesterday? Or
it was yesterday, and it was funny. I had one technical issue with one of the Zoom devices, so I had to pull the other one out of the storage and get it set up. And I was still only like 6 minutes late, but I told Charles, I said, dude, if you can just give me maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, man, we talked for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Nice. Can you say who you were podcasting with and where it'll be available?
I don't even know Charles's last name, but it's Blaster Pro, and it's where I've gotten a lot of my Star Wars props from, because this guy is a beast when it comes to wanting all the details accurate. So he starts with the actual gun, makes a copy of it, and then puts all the greeblies on it and the muzzle suppressor and all that stuff. And so I mean that's what makes them so accurate. And but anyway, they are fun, man. But he was a super nice guy, man. I thought it was just going to be like, hey, so why'd you get started? And it was so much deeper. And he was talking about some of the parts that he gets, when he's kit bashing, and that, like he built the Emperor's throne, and somebody saw a video and said, what did you put on the side? Because that looks screen accurate. So anyway, yeah, I got a whole lot more. And at the end of the whole thing, I thanked him, and he said, well, look, when you put it out there, let everybody, all your listeners, like all 10, ask questions, and we'll do a second one. So yeah, man, that was nice.
So where can people listen to this episode when it's gone? Are you going to do any editing, or are you just going to go, do you know what? Do it my style and just put it out?
I will do a little editing, just me being, meticulous with it. And the conversation went almost chronologically fine where I wanted to go. And then it jumped to something else, and then it went right back. So if I switch these two parts over, then I think it would be, an amazing podcast. I think it'd be amazing anyway, but I just sometimes, and I probably should be more free, liberate myself and my time, and just do like you and put it out there. And I may hit Saturday and go, you know what? I'm going to slap the bookends on it and I'll be done. So
you may do it like me and just not care, because you know what?
Right.
I'm done with that conversation. I will start preparing for the next one.
Right. Definitely. But it's been a long time since I've had 2 podcasts back to back like this. But it's good, man.
It's exhausting.
It can be, man. Yeah. It's I don't know about your weather, but it may match ours. But I mean, like, we have had rain all day today. And my dad comes into town for Rotary Club, which I think we discussed before. But anyway, so when he does that, he wants to go for a walk. Well, it's raining, man. And then my umbrella, I don't know. I guess I've given away all the rest of the umbrellas to people that show up without one. I'm like, here, child of mine. So I had to go out to get one of the umbrellas out of my car, which meant I was pretty much soaked by the time I got my umbrella up. So.
You should apply for a job at this company, Umbrella Corporation. I hear they're quite good.
Right.
They're quite secretive though for some reason, so I don't quite know what they do. But obviously it's something to do with the weather and stuff like that. But
it could be, man. Could be. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is exhausting. It shouldn't be exhausting having a conversation, but certainly when you do 2 back to back. I remember the other week I did 2 back to back, and I was just wiped out by the end of it. And all it was conversations like this, but it does get the brain going. You've got to think on your feet and go, right, especially when they're interview ones.
Right, and you've never talked to this person before.
Because you don't know what to expect. It could just be somebody who's like, yep, nope, Or it could be somebody that just goes like off and running, like Neil Johnson or
Right.
Brooke Lewis or something like that.
Yeah,
Brooke Lewis is the best guest to ever have on your show, because all you got to do is go, "Hi, Brooke, how are you?" And then you could just go away for like an hour and a half, come back, and she's still talking. She's amazing. She's one of my favorite guests.
Charles was similar. I mean, like, I got him on topic, and then he just went and went and went, and I was the one who was going, you know, so almost like podcasting with Jake when he doesn't let me get a word in edgewise. So yeah.
So when do you think that may be out?
It'll be by the end of the weekend for sure. So yeah, it's the way my time has been this week in particular. It just goes from one thing to the next, and so yeah. But I mean, surely on Saturday I'll have some, you know, bonus time and can do. Although, you know, it's like when I was making my show notes, I got to thinking. A friend of mine loaned me his Super 8mm film transfer device, so I can go through all my old short films and transfer them to high def digital.
Nice.
So, you know, man. So I don't know. Maybe I'll work on that some this weekend. Like, you know, I could probably knock it out in an hour if there's no learning curve, and hopefully there's not. So yeah.
So does Waxing Cinematic have a YouTube channel?
We do. I think
or is Foutz Studios the best one to go to?
It all depends on what you want to see. I mean, like, originally John Foutz was, I mean, like, the John Foutz YouTube was for me being goofy. Like, Vanilla and I went to the movies one night and saw, I guess it was Skyfall, and we got out at like midnight. So we're coming out into the mall, and it looks like zombie apocalypse or something, because there's nobody there. And it's just weird because when we went in, you know, gazillions of people are shopping, and when we leave, there's no security. There's nobody who cares that we could have just meandered the mall for a while, I guess. You know, maybe there's security, you know, kicking back with coffee and donuts. Maybe they would have seen us and run us out. But yeah, it was weird. So anyway, but that's the kind of thing that I would just do goofy videos and post on the John Foutz. On the Foutz Studios, you've got reels that I've done, some After Effects stuff, a couple of shows I've worked on. So that's more of the professional. But then there is Waxing Cinematic, because you remember at one time you had to have X amount of followers on YouTube or whatever, subscribers, and before you could do a live stream. And now they want everybody live streaming pretty much out the gate. So, but so Jake and I'll probably get back to that at some point. Like I say, the last one failed miserably with his device emitting some sort of weird sound that scrambled the recording device. It's almost like Mission Impossible, you know, except it worked against us. So
it's not easy live streaming on YouTube, though. It's easy to do a solo show, so you can just talk at the camera. But when you want to try and bring guests in, I think you can only do it from a phone or an iPad or something. You can't do it from a PC using a webcam or a laptop or anything, because I ideally I would love to do these live streamed straight onto YouTube and then take it off and do it afterwards. But it ain't easy. So, you know, YouTube are a pain in the rear end often.
Right. Yes, on all sorts of levels, you know.
On most levels, to be honest.
Yeah.
Even though this will sit on YouTube, you're a pain in the neck. So.
Right. As long as you don't say Trump or COVID, I think, you know, they won't mess with your episode, right?
No. Although I think we can say Trump here in the UK, but, you know, there's probably.
Really?
I guess so. I don't know. We'll find out if this episode gets flagged.
You know, and one of my questions to you is, what does the world think of our president, Biden? What are the people's thoughts as they see him stumbling around, unable to get off the stage? You know, hopping on a bike and falling over immediately. Like that, or the answer to any question, and him just kind of going off about lampshades and, you know, whatever.
It's a weird one. We have a similar problem here in the UK as well, where the two people, because we're in an election year as well this year over here, so the world's just going to explode at some point. Is you look at the two choices and you go, I don't want either of them, really. There's none of them. Can we have a third? No, there is no third choice. It's like, well,
Yeah.
So
I
think,
guess, yeah.
Yeah, with Trump, I think people just look and go, he's a crazy man. He's a lunatic. He still doesn't believe that the election was lost, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
We don't want him in charge. And then they look at Biden and they go, he's better than Trump. But somebody, who's that person next to him? Is that Secret Service or his carer? That sort of thing. So there's that. But it's just, I don't know. And it's similar here in the UK. We've got two rival parties they're both horrendous.
Yeah.
None of them can answer a question. Ever.
Well, that's a lot of the debates. I don't think Biden's even showing up for. So no. I kind of think that is, at least he could excuse it back when, COVID and quarantine and all that, when he was elected the first time. But yeah, man, I think we need to be able to watch them in action and not running along, because that could be a stunt double. So.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, it is going to be Biden or Trump, isn't it? Those are the two people that are going to run, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why is it this again?
Yeah, and it takes so much money to run for the presidency, because there are some people that would probably be great as the president, but they don't have, billions of dollars and people throwing money at them, and and it just. So, we get stuck. But the fact that Trump has been struck from several ballots, like several states. So if he wins this time, I don't think they'll question it, because anyway, man. But yeah, it is crazy. And I think it makes the world wonder why we can't have good candidates, and would it even matter if we did? Because still, the power that be, the Illuminati, whatever, they're the ones that are going, no, you know what, we want Diane Cannon in there,
and it's like, I think if Trump wins, then there'll be like uproar. People will go, and they'll go mad and angry. And if Trump loses, they'll go, and they'll go. Right. So it's either way. Come November. Or probably December, by the time you actually work something out.
Right.
It's just going to be like, oh, no. You need to build a bunker. Just go stay in it, watch TV or whatever.
Right.
There's a good movie by Alex Garland coming out soon called Civil War, which would be a nice bit of escapism, wouldn't it? Have you seen a trailer for that?
Oof. Gosh, man. I know that's popped up on my feed, but I don't think I've seen it, because my mind went immediately to Marvel Civil War, which it's not.
No.
But it's maybe I have seen like a teaser trailer for it. But yeah, man, all too real.
Yeah, a little bit too real. I don't know how much money that's going to make at the cinema, because people are like, you know what, I'm going to be living through this shit in November.
Right.
So
same thing with the ISS movie, where you have Americans and Russians on the International Space Station. Then they watch the nuclear bombs going off, and they're like, "Oh crap!" Well, so then what happens? Because I think both of them are told you've got to take over the space station. So yeah,
that's my type of movie, though. It's like, I want to watch that. That looks really good.
It does. I was trying to think what other movies and TV shows are coming out. I was Michelle is a big Zorro fan, so that was interesting when I saw that Zorro's dropped season 1 on Prime, because usually they just want to thump them out one per week. But I hope that they have a dub version, because I don't know that I want to read subtitles for an entire season. So yeah.
hopefully they will.
Yeah. But gosh, man, Reacher finished up. That was really good. I think that
I've started.
I completed. Oh yeah, man. What do you think?
I like season 1. I really enjoyed. We've watched the first 2 episodes of season 2, enjoying it. I still don't know. He's really good as Reacher, but I like Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
I do. I had no issue with Cruise.
Right.
But obviously, the guy Alan has got the height and the bulk.
Yeah.
But in some ways, he just looks too big and bulky. He doesn't fit in.
Well, you remember how people would question, like when Jack Bauer would go 24 hours without going to the bathroom. Not that we wanted to see it, but if he could just duck into the bathroom, and then we cut to Chloe, it's like, where is Jack? But we never see Reacher go to the gym. So how does he stay so huge? You know, because I mean, he's just running around for weeks and he's still pumped. So, yeah,
he is. But yeah, no, we're enjoying season 2.
yeah.
So we've watched
So is
that.
do you guys just kind of feel like that is the epitome of the United States brawlers? Just going and okay.
No. I would think if I have to choose something that I think's how I think the US is, not obviously all of it or whatever, but it's 24. So it's people running around doing that stuff. And then it's people in back rooms going, well, actually, if we do this, then that means we can do that. We can get lots of money from this, that, the other. So I think 24 probably got it quite accurate. Certainly the political system.
Right.
I think that was one of the first things I saw where it was the president's going, well, I want to do this. And then everybody else is like, no, we paid for you. You're doing something else. He's like, okay, I'll do something else. It's like, oh, that's how it works. There was none of that in the West Wing. Martin Sheen was like, this is what I want to do. I'm doing it. And Martin Sheen did it. So Martin Sheen as President Bartlett would be the president that I would hope you guys get. It's like him because he's not a lunatic.
Right. There's that. And then, oh my gosh, what was that movie that had Calvin? Oh, what is his name? No, Kevin Kline.
Kevin Kline, Dave.
Yeah, man, that's the president I would like to have. Not the one who died having sex with the prostitute, but the one who took his place.
The nice one. Maybe we can. Yeah. Do you think we can orchestrate that? Do you think we can get in touch with Kevin Kline and try and sort it out by November?
I don't think he's been canceled, so I think he's still a go. But when I make it rain money, unless it's like even dollar bills, man, it's like I'm making it rain and then it's done, man. I don't have enough to make it perpetual and get anybody actually elected. So
I will put it on my to-do list when I'm running Netflix as well too.
Oh, good, man.
Just sort that out. There's 2 things I'm going to do. One is get Kevin Kline to be president, and 2 is get Neil Johnson to finish the bloody Time War.
Dude, I was thinking about that just earlier because there's few people that are harder working than Neil. We know he will eventually finish this TV series, miniseries, movies. I mean, at this point,
do we though? I mean, do we,
Neil?
I don't think so. Neil, do we know you're going to finish it? I'm not convinced. I think it took was it Richard Linklater 12 years to make Boyhood.
Wow.
I think it might. And I think Neil's going for the record here.
Right.
he wants to knock Linklater off his perch.
Right. The mega show. Yeah,
exactly.
Man.
About 400 hours long.
I was envisioning you and I flying out to his house and knocking on the door and saying, okay, we're here. You know, we're like the vegan squad from Scott Pilgrim. You know, we're like, we want to see proof of life.
I think Neil's going to be like 108 years old, and he's going to be on like the respirator, beep beep beep, and he'll be like, I'm just finishing the credits, and then he'll finish it, and then we'll switch him off, so and then we'll be done then.
Yep, but he will have completed his life's journey at that point.
He will. And it's weird. It's weird being a film fan though, because you'll watch a film like, you make one and go, brilliant, I've watched a film that you spent 5 years making, John. It was amazing. When's the next one coming out? You're like, no.
Right.
So we are stupidly impatient film fans.
Oh, we are, man. Well, we were trained right as kids, with Star Wars coming out every, 4 years. But after that, everything's sped up. So now we are spoiled.
Yep. We think movies are like TV episodes where, we'll get another one next week. And it's like, no, it doesn't quite work like that, does it?
It's like, wait a minute, you have 2 weeks in between movies, Tom Cruise. You can do a TV series, right? Yeah.
So I've got a question for you.
Ask it.
Why is everybody mad at Roadhouse being remade? They're really angry about that.
Dude, are they really? Because I saw
really
the trailer and I thought it looked really good.
Well, the trailer's come out today, I think, and the trailer does look really good, and the tide is turning slightly because people are watching it. But I shared the poster a couple of days back on my Facebook, and the comments are pretty much filled with people going, oh, fuck no. No, don't touch a classic. Not being funny, Roadhouse isn't a classic. It's a great film. I love it. Sam Elliott and, Rowdy Herrington did a great job, but it ain't a classic.
No.
Is it?
I mean, that was one of those one and dones back, what did it come out in the 80s?
Yeah, 89.
Yeah. And it was fun. I mean, it was badass. It was bar brawls and stuff. But this looks like it'll be a lot tighter and give more story. You've seen the trailer, right?
Yeah.
And so, when the hot chick that owns the bar goes to Gyllenhaal's character and is like, they want to take my bar, and he's like, oh. So anyway, so it goes beyond just the bar. I don't remember much about the original movie other than I don't know. Maybe there was a gangster, but I don't think he wanted to take the whole bar. Oh, really?
No, there was a gangster who sort of, this is my town, run this town, and he had all his thugs and everything. So, and then Swayze ripped somebody's throat out with a punch, as you do. Who's not done that? Typical Saturday night. But yeah, shared the poster. People were mad. They were like, "Don't remake that. Why are they doing this?" It's like, you should have got used to remakes by now. They happen quite often.
I mean, from the sound of it, Kathleen Kennedy wants to reimagine the Star Wars universe and have her own, when Star Trek had the divide, right? And, 2 different timelines. I think she's wanting to have her own and just do whatever she wants with it. And so that bothers me a hell of a lot more than Roadhouse, because I don't know if you saw The Marvels.
No, not yet. I do have it, so I'm going to be watching it pretty soon, but I've not watched it yet. It's okay if you spoil something. I'm not precious about the Marvels. How dare you, John? You've ruined one of my favorite franchises.
Well, it has 3 actresses in it.
It does.
We watched that over the weekend, and I guess who in blue makes a cameo at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. That looks so bad. Like, can you make this happen for $100? Sure. We don't need Kelsey Grammer. We just use his voice. But that is the worst looking beast. I think the comics, the X-Men animated series, had a better looking beast than this.
No.
I'm like, it's a movie. It should have had a budget, and therefore it should look better than. And I enjoyed She-Hulk, but the She-Hulk, when the CG was a little, I don't know, little less than what I was hoping for Disney. But okay, I get it. I mean, it's expensive, but when it comes to a theatrical release movie, it should have had a better beast. But for God's sake, it should have had a better story. It just was so. It's like, is this really Nick Fury or not? I don't know, because he's not acting much like Nick Fury, and there's anyway. I was disappointed. So we can talk more about it whenever you see it. But yeah, I just, if that is the future of Marvel and the future of Disney and the future of Star Wars in turn, dude, I'm glad that I have all the originals on disc. I can just go back and watch it. Same thing with, all the supposed drama on the Deadpool set, where, there's all this Ryan Reynolds doesn't want to rewrite and this and that and whatever. And I mean, hey, look, if you have a vision for your movie, you don't want the studio heads coming in and going, hey, we're going to shit on Act 3. You're going to have to rewrite it because we're offended or whatever, man. I mean, it's Deadpool. I think when you greenlit the movie, you kind of knew what was coming, right? But then, but I mean, it's interesting. Supposedly, Ryan Reynolds has said that he's not going to promote the movie on any, on any shows. and then Hugh Jackman said the same thing. It's like, wait a minute, you cut out all the cool Vietnam stuff? Well, then I'm not going on there. So you got, so who knows, man? Who knows? But I mean, like they wrapped shooting yesterday, and who knows if that includes all the pickups and stuff that they'll need to do. But at least we have Deadpool 1 and 2. At least we have 2 classics, because I don't know how the third one's going to be if the studio's trying to get in there and have a say on what's funny, because Deadpool is completely different than everything else. So
it's like filmmaking or the studio system is just insane nowadays. It should be, and I'm going to simplify the movie business down to like 2 sentences. So, Sony, Warner, if you're listening, you're welcome. Just hire me. It's like, I've got loads of money. I'm like, who can I get to make my film? John Foutz. If it's a science fiction one, then I'll probably give it Neil, but he'd take about 15 years to make it. So I'm giving it to you. So you and I sit down and we have a meeting and go, well, this is the sort of film we want, blah, blah, blah. And we sit down and we decide on a storyline or something. And then I go, there you go, John, here's a checkbook. Let me know when the film's done.
Right.
Because I trust you. Because we've had the conversation. And I know you know what you're doing because I've seen all your other stuff. So I trust you impeccably. Go away, come back, let me know when
Yeah.
the film's done, and I'll sit and watch it. It shouldn't be, well, actually, John, what you should do is that, no, because I'm hiring you to make the film. And I wish studios would just do that. Trust your filmmakers, for the love of God.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I'm down with them saying, okay, this is our big tentpole movie, the summer of 24. It's got to be done by then. But whatever you do up until then, as long as it doesn't exceed $1 gazillion, then you're good. I mean, like, I think some parameters should be put in place, but I agree with you. If you've hired someone who, I mean, like, that this is their creation, or they can respect the franchise, then just cut them loose, man. Just let them do their thing, give you the best that they can without having it just setting up so many roadblocks. And who knows how much is true, how much is just YouTube fodder and clickbait. But
a lot probably.
Yeah, probably. But
they should go back to trusting filmmakers like Universal Artists did with Michael Cimino in Heaven's Gate. Maybe that wasn't a good example. Maybe not that one. No, it bankrupted a studio. But you should iron all these things out in meetings beforehand, and then go, okay, are we happy? If we're not happy, have more meetings. It's not a problem. Talking doesn't really cost that much.
Because in a way, it's almost like what cancel culture did, where everybody was afraid to say anything. It's like if you think that, whatever your opinion is on anything, it could be wrong. So then everybody just started being quiet, which I don't think furthers community and society. But I mean, you think about in a movie situation where Iger slams his fist down and says, "How dare you wear that belt?" Well, then you're thinking about everybody else's belt too. It's like, what else have I done? And and it derails things. And then people can't be absurdly funny. And even if it is something that's pulled out, in the final cut, and it's because I think there were probably 4 or 5 different versions of every joke that Deadpool told. And it's hilarious seeing the different versions of the different, in the various versions of Deadpool 2, and same thing with Deadpool 1. And yeah, man, I mean, but that's what's fun for people like me anyway, man. For movie lovers like us, that's cool.
I think Deadpool 3 will make the money as long as they don't keep publicizing these studio interference messages.
Right. Yeah.
Try and keep them quiet. Pay off Ryan and Hugh. Go. Shh.
You're right. That's right. You need a little more money, right? Yeah.
Because
Ryan has the football team, so he could surely use some more money. I'm just saying, man.
Because it's like, are you ever put off by if you hear that many stories of studio interference? Do you sort of? I do. I'll go, do you know what? I'll wait for streaming for that one, or I'll wait till I get a disc or a screener or something. I'm like, that sounds like I held off watching Solo until it hit Blu-ray because I heard so many of the stories. I'm like, you know what? It sounds like a mess. I'll wait until I can watch it for free.
Yeah. Now, a movie like Deadpool, Michelle and I will go see it regardless. But maybe setting our expectations low might be good, because first time I saw Deadpool 2, Michelle thought it was awesome. And I was a little disappointed. I mean, like, there was something about it that didn't. It's kind of like Ant-Man 2 when that came out, and Michelle thought it was great. And for whatever reason, I had my sights set a lot higher. And so, but I on rewatch, I enjoyed them both, but especially Deadpool 2, man. If I ever need to just play something that's going to make me laugh, Deadpool 1 or 2. And the other night, Michelle and I put on Deadpool 1, and I was just laughing hysterically just during the opening credits. That was a classic. So
talking about things that are funny that aren't. The Oscar nominations, of course, the internet's mad, as it always is. But I have a real hatred against the word snub. It really annoys me, that word. I absolutely despise it. It's like it wasn't snubbed, it just wasn't nominated. There's a big difference. They didn't turn around and go, nope, she's not having it. He's not having it. No, get out, throw it in the bin. They just go, no. So everybody seems to be mad that. And I kind of get some of the argument, but that Margot Robbie hasn't been nominated as Best Actor for Barbie.
Yeah.
And Greta Gerwig hasn't been nominated for Best Director for Barbie.
Right.
It has been nominated for Best Film. I would have no issue with Margot or Greta not being nominated, but if it's weird that Ryan Gosling has been nominated for Best Actor for Barbie. So that's the odd part. The odd part is Ryan being in there.
Right.
But the internet's mad because obviously they're getting all, it's because Greta and Margot are women. Type. They're getting those punches in a bunch.
Right. There's always going to be some group that wants to point out, it's because they were belts. You know what I mean? And then, I mean, it just but I have not kept up with any of that. So I don't know, man. I try to be as drama free as possible, but I appreciate you being my news source and letting me know. But that is a bit odd because Robbie did an excellent job and her character matures, and I mean it's a great story arc, and Ryan's is just kind of a dumb blonde the whole time. So
so it's I mean mine isn't an issue that they've not been nominated. Mine's just the fact that, well, if they haven't,
right,
how come Ryan has? That's the very straight. But we know the Oscar selection thing is just weird anyway.
Oh, it's all political.
Very strange thing. But they used to have 5 nominees for Best Picture. But then, and I think it got extended to 10 around the Dark Knight time because they wanted to include that. So they went, right, now we're going to do 10. So now that they do 10, people are going, it's not enough. Well, just take it back to 5. Seriously, just put it back to 5, and people will complain anyway. And the show will be shorter because you won't have to show as many clips.
Right. Yep. And you will save so much time in pre-production because you won't be cutting all those clips together. You won't have to pay that many editors to do all that work.
What makes me laugh is I think up for Best Editing is whoever edited Killers of the Flower Moon. I'm like, there ain't no editing done in that thing. It's fucking way too long as it is. It's like, was there editing? I don't know. There was nothing cut from that.
I can't remember Lily's last name, Gladstone, I think. Anyway, she's been nominated, which that's awesome. I mean, she did an exemplary job.
She's going away with the Oscar. Yep, she's going away with the Oscar.
Yeah, but you are correct. I still haven't finished the movie, so.
But it was like because people are always mad around this time, and that's when the snub word comes out for its monthly run around the planet. They were like, why's Leo not been nominated? I'm like, he was good in the film, but he wasn't great. I've seen him do better.
Yeah. And how many Oscars does he need? How many awards does this wall need?
It becomes a bit like Meryl Streep, because it's like Meryl Streep sneezes and somebody catches it on film, go, that's amazing, give her a nomination. And that's nothing against Meryl Streep, but it's just like there was a time there where it's like every single thing she did, she got nominated. And it's like that kind of takes a lot of the impressiveness again away from being nominated, I think.
I think so too. And there's been other things that I've disagreed with too, like what is the definition of animation? Is it all hand-drawn, or can it be CG? And therefore, if it can be CG, then could it not be rotoscoped? Like, what was it, Apollo something? I can't remember the name of it. But, I mean, it was a unique-looking movie. But they were like, oh, no, it's not animation. Kind of looks like animation. No, they had actors and they rotoscoped. Oh, you mean like Snow White? I think we've already had this conversation before. But, it's whatever you throw, I'm gonna knock it back at somebody. But it was just absurd. But whatever, man.
Well, it's like Barbie has been nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay because it's based on a doll. But
stretching it. But okay.
But the sort of like, why is it not an original script? Because it's based on a pre-existing IP. Okay, fair enough. Maestro by Bradley Cooper, which is based on a real human being, is in Best Original Screenplay. You're like, hang on a minute. It's just weird.
Yeah, it is.
What was the film? It's like the Golden Globes, though, wasn't it? It was The Bear got won Best Comedy, and it's like, I've seen both seasons of The Bear. Ain't no funny bits in that show. It's great, but it ain't a comedy. But it won.
Right.
It's just insane.
So it's kind of like if Breaking Bad is considered a comedy, then The Bear is considered a comedy, right?
I think so. It's just very, very strange. Very strange.
So you had mentioned a while back Asteroid City, and you watched that, right?
No, I'm a bit like that with Wes Anderson. I appreciate his style, but it's just not quite my thing.
It is weird, but I enjoyed it. I watched it until the end. But I mean, it was like a mini series. Whenever Michelle would fall asleep, then I would switch it over and I just watch a little more. With my breakfast, I'd watch a little more. And I love the fact that everything looks like a postcard. All the color grading that they did and the miniatures that they used, and they went back and forth. I mean, like, and so many huge names that they just all this. I mean, like, oh, well, what is he doing in here? But I mean, like, anyway, it was better than the Marvels. How's that?
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I don't tend to watch too many Wes Anderson ones because it's like I need to be in the mood for those, and he's a bit quirky and odd. But I do applaud the fact that he gets to do what he does because it's very stylish. It's cool. Just weird.
Yeah. It is, I guess, in a way, kind of like if there were normal plays back in the day, and then you went to see Shakespeare, and you're like, wow, man, this is different. And so yeah, that was kind of the same vibe.
Have you got access to Netflix?
Yeah.
You do. Have you seen the short films that Wes Anderson did on the Roald Dahl? They're weird, but they work. They really do work.
Yep, they really do. I was watching some of the behind the scenes stuff again with the miniatures and how they did certain shots, and I mean, like, I'm in awe, man. That's just some fun stuff. But yeah, you are right. Again, weirdness, but it's little shorts, and I didn't realize they were all connected. And I was watching it thinking it was gonna last longer, and then it's like, nope, this one's done, and here's the next one. So mini series, I don't even know what you would call it, but yeah,
just weird little shorts that just dropped on around New Year, I think, weren't they?
Yeah, but very cool, man. I like that kind of being so odd and so different than everything else. So you also. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you carry on.
we're
colliding.
Opening. So we're Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Have you seen that?
Oh,
that
twice.
Was really good.
I've seen that twice.
Yeah. Really good, man. I didn't know what I was getting into, and it's funny that the whole thing starts off in a typical Guy style with, it's like the dude turns around, hey, this is Colonel Tom, and then, hey, that's Bishop whatever, and very reminiscent of his early stuff, but then such a good storyteller. So
it's like I watched it not so much because it was Guy Ritchie, because Guy Ritchie again is hit and miss. His early films, Lock, Stock and Snatch, really good,
right?
But he's gone off the boil quite a lot, like King Arthur and all that, Swept Away and stuff like that. But the fact that Gyllenhaal's in it, I mean, which is why when Roadhouse remake, I'm like, what? The remake in Roadhouse? Who's in it? Jake Gyllenhaal? Yeah, I'll give it a go, because he does pick his films wisely.
Yeah.
Does Gyllenhaal. So he was great in Covenant.
Yeah, definitely. That, and then the other guy, Ahmed, and I can't remember his name, but the actor, the rest of his name. But yeah, he was really good too, the interpreter.
Yeah.
And the fact that paid homage to the relationship between so many military personnel and their interpreters, man. It's pretty cool.
We were sitting watching that because I'd already seen it, and Annette was watching it, and every time they were like, no, just leave the interpreter behind, and I was like, she was getting really mad at the screen, shouting at him, like, I don't think they can hear you. So she was like, they better get him out. I'm like, just keep watching the film. She's like, did they get him out? I'm like, I'm not telling you. She's like, she gets mad at me for not spoiling movies, but I will never spoil a movie while I'm watching it with someone.
That's good, man. That's good, because it's so many things have been spoiled. Either the movie wasn't even playing, but it was something that I wanted to see, and somebody said, oh, it's a clever ending, blah blah blah, and I'm just like, I just told you I hadn't seen it yet, and now I don't know that I want to, and I never did see that movie.
I hate it when somebody does the. I'm not going to tell you anything
Yeah.
about it, but you won't see the ending
Right.
coming. Well, now I'm looking for it, dickhead. You know,
Right.
it's just like it annoys me.
Yeah. It's like, hey, that M. Night movie. Yeah. Okay. No, just
tell you,
stop, man. That's.
I don't know if I told you the story, but when I used to work at my sort of previous night job when we were in the office, so pre-pandemic, I was part way through watching a film called Patriots Day with Mark Wahlberg, which was based on the Boston Marathon bombing.
Oh, yeah.
And I told this guy at work, I said, I'm halfway through this film.
Oh,
and so, have you not seen it? I went, no, I'm going to finish watching it tonight when I get home. He went, oh, that's the one where they find him in the end, find him in a boat at the end, isn't it? And I went, and I take my movies very seriously. I said, look, if I get home and I watch it and that's where they find him and that's the end of the film, I'm not going to be happy. And he's like, laughing. So I got home, watched the film. Sure enough, find him in a boat. I went back into work the day after, and I'm like, can't believe you did that. And then, so then me and a whole bunch of others were like, so is everybody going to watch the Last Jedi, the second Star Wars one? And everybody went, oh, we've seen it. And this one guy went, I haven't seen it yet. I'm like, all right, Skywalker dies. And I walked off. And he was like, it better not be true. I'm like, it is true. You'll find out when you watch it. And that was my revenge. He never ruined another film for me again.
That's good, man.
I take my movies very seriously.
I think unless you look like Reacher, you do have to be crafty and you know, give somebody their own medicine, as my grandmother used to say. But yeah, I think if someone like spoiled a movie for Reacher, I think that would be kind of funny to see. Yeah.
Crazy. I've been rewatching lots of old ones this week though, because I'm in the nostalgia thing. So in the past week, well, some of these I might have mentioned previously when we were chatting, but I've rewatched The Hurt Locker from 2008, Man on Fire from 2004, which is nice. I love that film. Jerry Maguire, 1996.
Wow, I haven't seen that. Probably maybe one viewing after seeing it in the movie theater. So that would have been on VHS. Yeah.
Great film.
So, show me the money.
King, you're my motherfucker. My neighbors would be like, what the hell's going on through that wall? 1976's King Kong, starring Jeff Bridges, and the appearance of Jessica Lange for the first time.
Yeah. And you know who played Kong? It was Rick Baker in the costume. Yeah,
man. It was.
Dude, that's cool.
The Borrowers from 1997, starring John Goodman.
Yeah.
So I'm well up on all these. My top 10 list for the year will be weird.
Right.
Number one, 1973's Enter the Dragon, starring Bruce Lee. And 1995's Heat by Michael Mann. So that's pretty much, that's what I've watched in the past week or two.
Dude,
barely a new film in there.
But that's good, though. I mean, that way you make better use of your time versus watching, you know, the Marvels. The other day I was saying something to Michelle, and I could not remember the name of the cop who picked up Deckard in Blade Runner. It's Gaff. But I was just like, oh my God, I can't remember his name. I've got to watch the movie again because I hadn't seen it in years. And so Michelle had a birthday party to go to over in Charlotte, which pulled her out of pocket. And I put it in and watched it. And it was awesome, man, which leads me to, you know, Gaff builds these little origami figures. So have you ever pondered what and why? Like, why when Wallace is saying, you know, man, you either work for the cops or you're a little person and we'll make your life miserable. And then at that point, Deckard's like, well, all right. But at that point, he makes a chicken. So is that because you don't have the balls to stand up to Wallace, or is it questioning kind of, because if they know that Deckard is a replicant, then they're just using him like a dog, you know? And, but then thanks to 2049, you've got, you know, the fact that, you know, it was planned that Rachel and Deckard would get together so that because they were totally unique, which the whole unicorn theme plays, you know, in the unicorn running while Deckard's playing piano. and drinking heavily. And then also that's what's left behind when Gaff's like, you're done, man. So, but anyway, yeah, but it was just, it's interesting. Like, what in the hell is the origami of the dude with the boner?
Yeah, that's a
in
weird.
the apartment.
There was, and I don't know whether it's in the documentary Dangerous Days, which is amazing if you've not seen that. That is,
I have not.
It's over 3 hours, so it's like 200 minutes. It's on the Blu-ray of the final cut of Blade Runner.
Okay.
I don't know what edition of Blade Runner you've got. Is it a disc one or?
I actually have the Uber edition of the HD DVD set.
Is that?
And then I've got the Blu-ray set.
Is that this thing?
Yeah.
I did. Has yours got that in it as well? Has it got a little lenticular thing in it?
That was in the HD DVD set that I had.
Yeah.
Because it was Deckard's briefcase.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I did a little video where I showed that box set off because that's the edition that's got 5 different versions of the movie in it.
Yeah.
So
including
the
fan-made ones. Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot. Dangerous Days is probably in that, but it is one. It's an amazing making of. It's really good.
And who knows? Maybe I saw that back, like 11 years ago. How long has it been since I came out?
2007.
Wow, man. So it could have been a little bit since I've seen it, but that was back when I had my stationary bike in my office. None of my clients said anything. It's of course in my house, but I would pull the bike around and watch movies, play video games, whatever. And then, I'd be on the bike for 45 minutes to an hour, and I didn't think about it. It was just, so I was in much better shape. So,
but now that Blade Runner set is amazing. There was so much to, no matter how many times you rewatch Blade Runner, there's always something new that you notice from it. Obviously, you've got several versions that you can watch, but Are you voiceover or no voiceover?
I don't miss the voiceover, and for nostalgia's sake, that's the way I saw it the first time, needless to say. And I'd saved up my money to buy a VCR. I worked for a national park or a state park when I was in high school, and so I got to the end of the summer and I had like almost $1,000, and so I took that money and went and got a very expensive VHS player, and I brought my stereo down from my bedroom down to the living room and set up speakers. I'm sure it annoyed my dad because it was right in the middle of everything. And then just turned it up, man. But I really enjoyed that. And so I don't miss the voiceover, but yet I probably at some point will, look at it again with the voiceover just to take me back in time.
I don't think the voiceover, for me anyway, I don't think the voiceover ruins the film. I don't think it makes the film. It's a bit like the Close Encounters of the Third Kind versions. It's like, I'll just alternate through them and go, I've not seen the theatrical in a while. I'll watch that one. I'm going to watch the special edition. I'll watch that one. And so with Blade Runner, it's pretty much the only one I don't watch is the work print because obviously it's not finished. But I will periodically I'll just watch a different one. So,
It's funny that Blade Runner and Close Encounters both did that. They had so many different versions versus James Cameron just kept throwing more stuff into the cut and then released that DVD. And then finally, Blu-rays with the Uber edition that had absolutely everything. And I made the mistake of showing that to my kids first because I figured they were probably only going to watch Terminator 2 once. Versus Jake and I will watch it, we would watch it monthly if we didn't have anything else to do. But I wanted them to see everything because I thought it was cool. But I really wish I'd shown them the theatrical cut because I think it was so much tighter. And still, it's back in the day, it was a freight train. Now it's a chase scene. You know what I mean? It doesn't have the feeling that it's a runaway train like it did back when it first came out. We've got too many things that just keep pushing the limits and faster chase sequences and camera work and the camera strapped to this and that, and But anyway, I'm trying to remember, there is a YouTube channel, and I guess I'll just post it on Twitter, but where they talk especially about the miniature stuff, like, for the different movies. God, man, I want to say it's Pierce something, but it's a lot of really cool stuff. But I had no idea how much miniature work was done in Terminator 2. I just assumed that it was, I don't know, CG. They had the chrome, Terminator, so why not, but I guess they didn't want to let Industrial Light and Magic occupy the entire budget.
See, my guess would have been that the miniature stuff was the future stuff. Was there more miniatures than that?
Yeah, the truck that flips over on its side, they actually did a real truck and weighted it, and instead of just rolling onto its side, it did like 4 rolls and almost killed the driver, so they decided to do it in miniature form.
And then I'm guessing the miniature was probably about 100-foot truck or something. It wasn't tiny.
Yeah, no, it was still of size, and they had tracks. I mean, it's cool, man. I'll send you the link, because seeing all that, and they go into depth with Blade Runner and the models in the city and all that. I mean, it's cool, man. But they brought up King Kong Lives, and the miniatures that they did, which wasn't the one that you were talking about.
No, it's the 1986 one, isn't it? Is it Linda Hamilton's in that?
Linda Hamilton is in there, and I think the draw for me as a kid was we see her boob for like 3 frames. So that was why I went to see the movie, because Kong looked stupid and his girlfriend looked stupid. But I think it was De Laurentiis again, just wanting to make some money. But I mean, they did so good with the earlier one with Rick Baker, and it does kind of, I don't know, man. Why? I don't know, but I'm sure no one complained about, why you want to do another Kong movie,
Money, cha-ching. De Laurentiis is like, I don't understand the question. Money.
Yep. And that was done out in Wilmington, North Carolina, so about 4 hours from where I live. So
nice.
Yeah.
On the Kong I watched, because it's a Blu-ray, it's like a reissue they did. There is a full-length commentary by Rick Baker, which I've not yet listened to, but I bet that's fascinating.
Really? Yeah, because he is everything I read. He was such a fan of apes, and that was why they, Planet of the Apes, and then Tarzan. I mean, he was involved in a lot of that. But yeah, so I mean, when he was actually playing Kong, I just kind of in my head imagined that was kind of cool. So, but again, that was one of those movies that I think it was Fangoria magazine, one of those old magazines. That was how I knew that it was coming out. Same thing with Blade Runner. You saw a picture of Deckard behind the oh my gosh, the thing that would read whether you're a replicant or not, and the Voight Kampff test. And that was all we had to go on, because there were no trailers until they played in the movie theater. And then you had to go see a movie to see the trailer. So
I miss those days, though. I remember being fascinated. And I did a couple of podcast episodes, which I think I'd mentioned last time we spoke or whatever, about the video store years when I was wandering around. And I remember being fascinated by the box art on something I'm spending a couple spring to mind. One of them's Driller Killer. I'm like, what the hell's that about?
Right.
And then the other one was David Cronenberg's Scanners, where on the back it was
you're right.
For 30 seconds he gets a headache, 45 seconds he starts to shake, 60 seconds his head flies off, and you're like, what is this thing? Now the picture of the exploding head on the back, and as a kid you're like, I don't know, how do you make somebody's head explode? What the hell? And it was quite a couple of years before I managed to see the film. And that started my admiration for the awesome Michael Ironside. So, which lasts to this day. But just looking at these images in magazines, be it Starburst or something, you go, I don't know what this is. And unfortunately, I wasn't old enough to see some of them, like Blade Runner. I wasn't old enough just. But I do remember seeing Han Solo in this thing with his hair short. Kind of weird. Miss those days where you didn't know too much about the film before you went into it.
That, and I think we had reasonable expectations, so that we could enjoy movies it was a completed work of art, whether it was really good or not, whether the story was amazing or not, or whatever the genre, you acknowledge the achievement. And I think with everybody being able to shoot movies on their phone and edit on their phone and stick it on YouTube and tell a story that's reasonably coherent or maybe not coherent at all, I think I think we judge harshly when somebody has a gazillion dollars, James Cameron or, so I don't know, man. It's a different day and age.
But I was watching a film this afternoon because I'm determined to get Cynthia Rothrock, the martial artist, action hero. She's awesome, on the podcast by the end of the year. All right, that's my goal. That's how I'm going to do it. Right. So I've been doing my Cynthia Rothrock homework. Now, I've seen a lot of her films over the years. A lot of them would drop straight onto video back in the early 90s and late 80s, so that's where I would see them. And I was watching one today called The Super Cops, and it's a Hong Kong movie, and it has bits of the soundtrack from Halloween in there. You're like, I recognize that music drop. It's got a couple of music tracks from Rambo First Blood Part 2. You're like, I know that bit as well because I've heard the soundtrack. Some of the dialogue is really cheesy, and some of the effects are not amazing. But I still had fun watching it. And I came away from it going, I enjoyed that. Yes, it stole music from Halloween and Rambo First Blood Part 2. And some of the fight scenes were, the physics, a little bit Fast and the Furious-y. But I still had fun watching it. You think if this film came out nowadays, it would get annihilated. And it's a shame.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's I can't remember who brought it up, if it was you or maybe it was Jake, talking about, there was some movie that was panned by critics or whatever. But I mean, when you look at Blade Runner, when that first came out, that was, people didn't know what to think, and it wasn't Star Wars. So they just thought it was, junk and wasn't successful. And there was another one that was very similar, but I mean, they've held up over the years. Now they're cult classics.
The Thing, that financially tanked because Universal went, E.T. We'll give it all our advertising money. And people wanted happy aliens in the summer of '82, so they didn't want Rob Bottin's crazy dog-eating aliens.
But that was so amazing when they came out with the 4K cut. I can't remember if it was on Netflix or whatever it was, but I found it again, and I was so amazed that overall the effects hold up, and they're all practically done. And man, there was something else, and sometimes I just don't have time to interact with anybody on Twitter in particular. But
don't bother. It's not worth the hassle.
Somebody posted this 9-panel image that said, "What is your favorite, fire, whatever, in a movie?" And The Thing wasn't included. And then I was wanting to be a smart ass saying, "What about a man on fire? Does that count?" But in title only.
Yeah, just don't interact with people. It's one of my promises this year not to interact with trolls.
Right.
I did have a run-in, wasn't a troll, but he was an idiot. So maybe he will grow up to be a troll. I don't know. But are you familiar with the movie The French Connection?
Vaguely. I think I saw it somewhere along the way. Yeah.
The Gene Hackman, Roy Scheider, William Friedkin. 1971. Yeah. So Gene Hackman plays, it's based on a true story. Gene Hackman plays this New York copper called Popeye Doyle. Now, Popeye Doyle really wants to catch this drug dealer. And it's, this is all the French Connection and stuff. Spoiler at the end of this film from 1971, he doesn't catch the drug dealer. The drug dealer gets away.
Yeah.
Now, remember, it's based on a true story. The guy that Gene Hackman's playing, so Popeye Doyle, is on set being an advisor. And he's like, that didn't happen that way. Do it differently. That's right. Tweak this a bit. So he's well into it because Gene Hackman is playing him on screen.
Right.
So this person on Facebook, it wasn't Twitter. He was like, "Oh, I'm never ever going to watch The French Connection 2." Everybody's like, "Okay, I get it. It's not as good as 1.
Right.
Still, it's a decent film though. Gene Hackman's great in it, but it's not as good as 1. But you're missing out. You should watch it. It's a good film."
Yeah.
And the guy basically says, "I'm not going to watch it because they've ignored the ending of the first one." So then everybody in this Facebook thing's going, "What do you mean they've ignored the ending of the first one?" Because the first one ends and it comes up with a bit of text saying that Gene Hackman and Roy Scheider were transferred into a different department to go catch other criminals. And then the second film picks up with the Gene Hackman character just deciding, I'm going to go catch that drug dealer that I didn't get at the end of the first film. So that's pretty much a basic overview. This guy on Facebook decided that Gene Hackman shot himself. Well, not Gene Hackman, but Popeye Doyle shot himself and died at the end of it. And it was like, that's not what happened. That wasn't the end of the film. Because if you remember, so he chases the drug dealer off. Drug dealer gets away. You hear a gunshot. You don't see what the gunshot is, but you hear a gunshot. And then the text comes up going, these two cops went over there to work in a different department. And this guy was like, no, the gunshot was Gene Hackman's character killing himself. And it was like, no, it wasn't. And I got on my high horse because it's like me and Friedkin, we didn't, weren't best buddies or whatever, but we followed each other on Twitter, and I pay attention to what he says, and I've seen all the documentaries and the interviews. Never once has he said Gene Hackman shot himself into the French Connection. But this guy was so convinced.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where I'm like, I'm just going to have to stop talking to this guy because nothing I say is going to convince him that the thing he thinks happened, which didn't.
Right.
No. So just don't engage with people. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Too tiring.
I'm sure that Jake and I talked about this at some point in Waxing Cinematic over, the last, oh my gosh, coming up on 10 years. But there, at one point, Jake hops onto IMDb and starts debating somebody about Terminator 2. And this dude, I don't know if he was actually a part of the crew that did some of the special effects or whatever, but Jake is arguing and being Jake. And at some point, IMDb said, okay, enough, you are done. We're gonna cut you off. And so I think he was banned. I can't remember for how long. He's back on there, I think. I don't know, man.
What were they arguing about?
Oh, something that he had read somewhere in some magazine stating that, or maybe it was in behind the scenes, but it had something to do with some special effect. And sometimes they get it wrong, man. I mean, as you and I are talking about, TV shows or reminiscing and stuff, we try to get our facts right, but we are human. We don't just, we're not like Neo,
No, not yet.
So, yeah. And although I would love to learn that way, I have to admit it. There are certain things I would just like uploaded and done.
I know Kung Fu.
Yeah.
You'd be there going, I know Avid.
Oh my God. And I know that I wanted to die.
Yes.
That was supposed to be a little nod back to Blade Runner. So
Time to die.
So, yeah. Have you ever seen Adam Savage's YouTube video about Deckard's blaster?
Your camera's gone away as well, so I don't know if you've
Oh, it was just someone calling me. Hopefully, everybody's fine, but they can text.
Yes, exactly. Stop interrupting our chat about nothing.
Yeah, that's right, man.
But now I haven't seen that one about the blaster.
Yeah, but anyway, it's interesting, the whole history of that blaster and how many versions and all this stuff. And so that has been kind of the holy grail collector's piece that I've wanted for quite some time. And back, 15 years ago, however long it was, when the I want to say it was somebody last name Cole, but anyway, he did a version that was supposed to be completely screen accurate. And man, I wanted it so bad, but I was like, it cost as much as the car I was driving, and I was still trying to make it as a filmmaker, and so I couldn't see putting the money into it. But man, those are worth so much now. But anyway, long story short, or short-ish, I've bought some kits which I still have to build, and so those will be fun to build. But then I find that there's this high quality version of the gun made by a company in South Carolina down at Myrtle Beach, which is where we go to the beach a lot. And I'm just like, how did I not know that there is this company that makes not just that, but I mean, all sorts of other different prop memorabilia, but they do the high end version, but yet it's not overwhelmingly expensive. So
See, my question for you is, how have they not realized that if they give you free stuff, you'll put a little sign, you'll put a sign behind your head, not right behind your head because they won't see it,
right,
on every single podcast for like 6 months.
Oh,
and then that will just live on. They should sponsor you.
Yep.
Give you free stuff.
I like that you're reining me in, because I would tattoo the back of my head for one of those things. Yeah. No, but
no,
I
just put a sign.
Yeah.
Put a sign there. Wear a T-shirt, something like that type of thing. But that could be something.
Oh, hey, I would wear that T-shirt a lot. So yeah, man.
So you mentioned to me that OG YouTubers were leaving. I know nothing about that. What was all that about?
Yeah, and I meant to make a note, because man, I have so many notes. Yeah, I made so many notes for today's show. I was trying to be prepared on time, but these guys have been around for at least 10 plus years, and one after another, and some of them just say, look, you know what, I'm having to work too hard, I'm not having fun anymore, and so I'm closing the channel. And I get that, but the people who say, I'm having to work too hard to keep this thing going, to make the money, and I'm having to hire more people, which means I make less money, and I for you and me, we don't get paid for this.
I wish.
I mean, like, other than probably maybe $100 worth of swag, that was all Jake and I were paid for years and years of waxing cinematic. So I don't know, man, but I mean, that was the goal in the beginning of waxing cinematic, was for us just to have beer sent to us for free, so we would drink their beer during the podcast. And then eventually I was thinking, man, if we could just make a little bit of money, just a little residual income or whatever, that'd be cool. But we never did. But that never drove me to say, I'm going to firebomb this, I'm done.
No.
And a lot of YouTubers are doing that. And I mean, like, okay, so I mean, like, I get it. It's harder to make money on YouTube. There's more competition, so they don't need you as bad. But it's still, I mean, like, either you enjoy it or you don't. And I think you've got a good mindset, and I'm trying to do the same thing, in that if we want to do a podcast and talk to somebody, then we'll do it. If we want to watch an old movie like Blade Runner or, Chinese Connection or whatever, then we're going to do it. I mean, like, we're not on anybody else's dime. We're not going to be, losing money. So anyway, but yeah, I thought that was just kind of, I don't know, man. I just thought that was kind of odd that these people who, I enjoy their podcast. I learn from some of the podcasts, like, hey, have you ever thought about using After Effects like this? Boom. And new technology, new apps and all that. And, but I mean, hey, that's all right. I'll find somebody else.
I think anybody who thinks I'm going to get into podcasting, be it video or audio podcasting, because I want to be rich, it's, it's a bit like being an actor going, do you know what? I'm going to be an actor so I could be a billionaire. No, odds are it's probably not. It's possible it'll happen. Tom Cruise, Dwayne Johnson, Will Smith or whatever. But the likelihood is you're going to have a second job. But I remember years ago, back in Harold's day, Harold and I, Big Pimpin', and he said to me, you should podcast until it stops being fun. Once it starts to feel like work, then quit. And to me, it never does feel like work. But a couple of times over the years, I've thought about just quitting it, because you just go, do you know what? I think I've said everything, or you'll have a co-host that kind of annoys you, and you go. And that happens. It happens.
It does. Yeah.
You'll have a co-host, and they'll not watch anything at all, or they'll just, you can tell that they would rather be anywhere else than on a podcast. And so you pick that up and you go, okay, maybe it's time to shift to do different things, which is why I think it was like a year or so ago when I'd message you and I'm like, can you kind of loosely commit to do one a month? And then Stuart Miller, I reached out to him as well and said, maybe one a month, if you want to do one. They're like, yep. So I knew that I had that new safety net of people that I enjoyed chatting with.
Right.
You know, and
And you're right.
I don't check the calendar. I'm not like, oh, actually, John's not done one for 5 weeks now, so I need. No, we record what we record, and if it's once every 2 weeks, it's fine. If it's once every 3, it's fine. If it's once every 4, and that's what I decided to do this year, is just podcast as and when.
Yeah.
And I've done more than one a week so far, just by going, I'll just record whenever. So it's kind of working. But anybody who thinks, oh, it's Sunday night, there'll be a new podcast, that's probably not going to happen now.
Yep. Well, that was one of the things my dad was asking me about earlier today when we were out on a walk, and he was just like, well, why can't you pick up all your, all the people that used to follow you and, watch your live stream, and, mainly because when I think I went to work first, and then when I quit my job, and then Jake had twins. So there's just a lot of obstacles. But I mean, we had everybody. This sounds bad, and I don't mean it like we had trained monkeys, but I mean, we had so many people that would tune in every Monday morning to watch us record live. But they knew it was there. It's almost like old school TV, where it's like, hey, Wednesday night, that's when we're going to watch Lost. And I mean, like, I remember we were shooting one movie locally, and I had actors saying, can we please wrap early today so we can go watch Lost as it's broadcast, because they didn't want to get behind, man. But I mean, once Jake and I stopped doing that, we had so many people reaching out saying, where are you guys, is everybody okay? And then after a while, they're just like,
I still have you on my iPod feed, and so when a new episode.
Do you really? Yeah.
Of course, I've got 2 iPods, so let me just prove a point. It's like a court of law then. Yeah. But it's weird. It's like a lot of the shows that I have, they just don't record anymore. Yeah. Where are you? There we go. A little waxing cinematic there. There you go. Don't know if you can see it or not.
Nice.
And I even have, in the Hope, 18 Degrees is down there, next to Anthony Allen's Conspiracy Author. So I still live in hope that that's going to come back. It's still there.
Nicola and I talked about that back in, gosh, man, it must have been before Thanksgiving. And because I was doing a couple of other things for her. She has a podcast that it never happens weekly as planned. And so, but I said, look, over the Christmas holiday, if you have time, let's do another 18 Degrees Below Horizon. I wanted, and I still want to do that, but I mean, it's one of those things where she got sick, and so she couldn't, she didn't feel like doing anything. And then January hits, and boom, we're back into the norm, whatever that is. And it's funny, as we discussed this last, 2 weeks ago, that we both felt like we were behind, even though the year had just started. Yeah. And I feel even more behind, man.
Yeah,
I have to keep reminding myself, it's just the 25th of January. It's okay. But I'm so hungry to have some change in what I'm doing for a living. And so, man, I mean, I feel like that stormtrooper in A New Hope coming into the doorway that's too short. Point. Yeah.
I met that dude, by the way. I know him.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'm like that. I feel like, oh my God, I'm way behind, because I feel like I've got 55 things that I want to do. There's no way I can do any of them, so I'm not going to bother doing any of them. Right. So I've started this evening making myself a timetable. This is what I need, and writing it out on a sheet of paper, and that's pretty much
awesome.
It's the only way I can do it. So even to the point, which screeners I'm going to watch this week, what date they've got to be watched by, when the film's out. So it's like, right, okay, because it can get overwhelming sometimes.
Oh yeah, you're not kidding. And it's kind of like thinking about the weekend, and I've got one video editing project that I need to knock out. Probably won't take too long, but for a client. But it's like, so I'm thinking, we'll watch this movie, and then but then I get to thinking about the fact that I have that Super 8mm film transfer device. So damn, I'm excited about that. And it just starts piling things up. And then I feel like I'm juggling 15 bowling balls simultaneously. And
Yep.
there's other projects that I want to see completed this year. And, like this one animator buddy of mine reached out yesterday and asked me, hey, dude, here's your reminder. Send me that treatment so I can start designing characters. And you're right. I forgot. I mean, like,
Yep.
it's just, but I want it done, man. But yeah, unless I can subdivide like the old Superman in the black and white series. I don't know if you remember that episode or not, but
I do.
he went
Yeah.
from, So, every time he would divide himself, he became more and more human until he was just worthless.
I thought you were going to go for Multiplicity with Michael Keaton.
Oh, that was
four
funny,
of them.
man. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. If that was a possibility, although I don't know that my wife nor the world is ready for more than one of me.
Or maybe if you want to stick with the Superman one, maybe you could divide, and then the dark John Foutz can go and sit in a bar and flick peanuts at a mirror. Stuff like that. That could maybe
with deadly accuracy, like Bullseye and that Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Yeah.
When the old lady's talking to him, he goes, "Don't," and then she's out, and he's like, "Good, man," So.
So what have you got? What are you going to watch this weekend? I have no idea what I felt like a Monday then for some reason. I'm like, what are you doing this week? It's nearly weekend. So have you got anything that's penciled in to watch?
Not really. I saw that I could watch the new, I almost said Ultraman, the new Aquaman, totally different. And so maybe, but I mean, like we were talking about earlier, on-set drama. I mean, like I heard some rumors and whatever, and I mean, to the fact that James Gunn said, okay, Momoa's not going to play Aquaman ever again, so rebooting the whole DC movie universe. And so I mean, that's two reasons for me not to care until it comes on Max or later on, even on Freebie. I mean, like, maybe I'm not missing anything,
And I think it's like the James Gunn thing, as much as I like James Gunn, that's a dumb arse thing to say, isn't it? Going, hey, that thing we've got coming out that we want you to go watch,
right?
Don't worry about it. It means nothing.
Right.
I'm not going to watch it then, because why would I bother?
And meanwhile, have you seen the actor that he has playing Superman in the Superman reboot? Like, I don't know, was this the 5th or 6th time? And he's wearing a suit that looks exactly like Henry Cavill's. And he looks so much like a younger, skinnier Henry Cavill. And I mean, like, why would you not want Henry Cavill to play Superman? I don't know, man. But I mean, like Alan Ritchson, the guy who plays Reacher, somebody started the rumor about him playing Batman, which that would be cool because he does look like, I can't remember, was it Frank Miller's Batman, where he is just so angry and so bulky. And so, yeah, man, I could see that happening. But Henry Cavill, man, I think he is the epitome of Superman. I mean, Christopher Reeve, we don't have with us anymore. And he was certainly a great Superman. But I think as far as trying to be more like the comics, I think Cavill had it. But
how much of a kicking do you think DC will get when the first film comes out? Bearing in mind, I genuinely believe that it could be the best film ever. It could be perfect, and yet the internet, a lot of the internet would just crap all over it and go, it sucks, and they'll just try. But I don't know why. I wish I could make that mentality go away, but unfortunately, it's a thing.
Because it's almost like there's 3 types of people that are going to watch it. You're going to have your comic book nerds who will, and this is the divide. Is it Superman or does it suck? And then you're going to have that other group of people who are just heinous trolls that hate on everything and will say it sucks. And so, I mean, I'll go, I think, just out of respect for James Gunn doing Guardians of the Galaxy, I'll go see it. I want to see what he's done with this franchise at that point. And he did the, was it Suicide Squad, the second one? And that was good. I mean, it was what it was. But I mean, there are some very funny moments. And then, of course, that gave birth to the Peacemaker TV series, which made me laugh a lot. So we'll see, man.
Still never made it over to the UK, that show.
No way.
Nope.
Man, I don't know why. I mean, that is hilarious. I don't know. That blows my mind.
Yeah,
dude. I mean, it's like Uncle Remus can't be shown in the United States, but you guys have Song in the South. You've never lost it.
There's been spin-offs of The Walking Dead, isn't there? There's been a Daryl Dixon one.
Yeah,
and there's been the Maggie and Negan one, Dead City,
which is really good. Yeah,
never even been shown in the UK. There's no air dates yet.
I don't know. What are they waiting on, man?
I don't know. I really want to watch them. So yeah.
Yeah, they're good, man. I mean, as much as we had kind of given up on The Walking Dead, because no matter what happens, if there's something good, something bad is coming. And these are a little bit different kind of format where it's like we're going to tell you a story. And the next one coming up, I can't remember the name of it, but that has Rick in it.
It's like, is it called like They Who Live or The Ones Who Live or something?
There you go. Yeah,
because it's Andrew Lincoln's back, so we get to see Rick again. I'm more happy that Pollyanna McIntosh is back in it because
Oh yeah,
she's my buddy, so we get her back.
Yep.
I'm very excited. I've seen the trailer. Just car watch the show.
So I guess when these movies and TV shows that you can't see, every trailer is a teaser.
Yeah, it's like. You're not getting a happy ending. We're just gonna whisper in your ear about what we're gonna do to you, and then not actually do it. It's just like the worst day ever, really, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. Hey, wait, where'd she go? Oh, wait, I've got the ticket, aren't we? What? Yeah. The bill. Cool. So I found a note. I can't remember if I texted you or maybe through Twitter, man. There's so many ways that you and I can converse in text form. I sometimes just don't remember how, but yet we did. But anyway, I found this note from 2016, different props that I wanted. And some of them I don't care about anymore. I don't want like an Indiana Jones fedora. I don't have room. I don't know. I'm okay. I've got a hat. I don't need a fedora. Let's see. Where's that? Dang, man. But anyway, Jason's hockey mask. I don't care. I don't know why I wanted a Jason's hockey mask. I've got some other hockey-esque masks, but they aren't Jason's, and I just don't care. But it was funny, one of the things was Wolverine's claws, like Hugh Jackman's, where you hold on to the rod and it looks like. And I have never found any that were worth the crap. Ironically, Michelle wanted some meat shredders, and damn if they aren't. It fits my hand perfectly. The blade comes right up. It looks just like Wolverine's claws, except they're only this long, so they're not like the regular size. But so anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny. But I have 3 Darth Vader masks now, so I can check that one off the list. 2 Predator masks, 2 Stormtrooper masks. So I've got a Batarang. I had on the list that I wanted to get one Lancer from Gears of War. I have 3 of those, so it's interesting, And then
how do you end up with a third one, right? Because you go, I want one. I've now got one. How do you then end up with a second one? And then how do you end up with a third one?
For which one, man?
For any of them, for like the Vader masks. They're different iterations of Vader.
Yeah,
the mask has changed slightly.
The first Vader mask was like a cheap Walmart version that it's more or less my stunt mask, if you will, right? And then I bought a nicer one, which was the Black Series. And so then they came out with one that was based more on the mask that was in the Obi-Wan series. And I liked the look, so I bought it. So anyway, it's not always like, you know, I'm sitting there thinking some of these are impulse buys. So, because I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. Got the red tint lenses and you know, the Lancers from Gears of War. I bought one, and then when the next game came out, I bought another one. And then I bought the third one because I bought the next game, man. So yeah, so that, but you know, we have had fun on different podcasts that we do here, using them as props for us taking promotional pictures and stuff. The DL-44 situation, man. I mean, like, I bought, and that's Han Solo's gun for everybody who doesn't know what a DL-44 is.
Including me, I didn't. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Okay,
I'm like,
well,
I'll pretend I know. Oh, yeah, it's the DL-44. It's better than the 43.
Yeah. I did that a lot last night when he was talking about, yeah, the Greeblies that come from the engine that blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like,
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Know them well.
Yeah. But it's, you know, you get one. It's almost like a friend of mine who has so many tattoos all over their, you know, their arms, because you go in for one and then you're like, damn, I want to go back and get another one. So I, in my ignorance, although I'm a huge Star Wars fanboy, I thought there were just 3 different blasters that Han Solo had, right? There was A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. I didn't know there was more. I didn't know there was a prop version. I didn't know that there was a Greedo killer. And so anyway, I've gone down this rabbit hole collecting all these different versions. There was a airsoft pistol that does work. It doesn't shoot. I mean, I guess it would shoot like a plastic projectile, but it's all CO2 or whatever. I mean, it's compressed air. But anyway, I bought that. That was like my first foray into this DL-44 collection. So, but I only have one Mandalorian blaster. That's something, right?
Yep. I think at some point you should do short videos just showing off, and obviously just to add to your workload. But I think the amount of stuff that you've got there, it would be cool to go, right, this little video is on this one blaster, or this, you know, do a short video about this Darth Vader mask and just tell the stories of how you got them and what they are and all that sort of stuff. Because I started doing it with some of my DVD collections and some of my geek stuff. I've started doing the little short videos and just putting them out there. And, you know, some of them have a bunch of views.
It's, you know. I think you strike a chord with people who would like to collect, that would like to be able to, you know, I mean, either that or they just, you know, some of these things you can't get anymore, which is kind of cool. And then you never, like, Charles was telling me last night, because I was talking about my old Kenner Han Solo blaster that came out, I don't know, late 70s, somewhere in there. And he said, ironically, they took some parts off of that, added them to the Mauser, and you can see them used in the movies, because they took these Kenner, you know, plastic toys and they look good enough to use in the movie. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. There's one thing, because you're right, I do need to give like a tour and just break it down into different, you know, different facets and stuff. But there's one gun that people don't understand why it's a part of a sci-fi collection that's on my wall. I'd spin it around, but then it'd all be blurry thanks to Skype, and I can't figure out how to turn that off. But anyway, it's the Wild Wild West Derringer, because they consider Wild Wild West sci-fi. Even though it was Western, it was still science fiction with all the crazy gadgets.
It's got a big spider in it, for God's sake. That's not an indicator that. Or do you mean the TV series? Right.
Yeah, okay. Man. Right, yeah. I don't know. Maybe you don't have that over in England. They haven't allowed that, nor Peacemaker, nor the Walking Dead shows, right?
To be fair, I'm a bit annoyed they allowed the Will Smith Wild Wild West over here, to be fair, but you know.
Yippee-yi-yo, kippy-yay, or whatever that song was, man.
But yeah, from the original show.
Yeah. And I didn't think it was awful, the Will Smith version, but being a purist, because I had traded I think I had like a little Hot Wheels motorcycle guy, and I traded it for a buddy of mine had a little Derringer that looked exactly like James West gun. It was, half the size of what I have hanging on the wall. But and then, man, I would run around the neighborhood because this was a very new neighborhood when I was young. And I would run and look for any place that had dirt, and so I could do the tumble and stuff, and then act like it came out of my sleeve. And yeah, man, it's fun.
Fun times.
Yeah, man.
Fun times.
So what about you? What you doing for the rest of your day? I mean, it's, pretty late.
I mentioned that I'd made a list with the screener discs. So I got 2. I love screener discs. The actual discs that you send through, they're amazing. They are few and far between now. Everything's a screener link now, which I don't really like watching the film on a computer. But I got sent 2 screener discs through, which don't have to be watched for like a month or so, but I can review them and then just preload the article. One of them is video nasty film called Nightmares in a Damaged Brain. So it sounds like a real nice film. I think it's like 1981 or something, but it's come out and it's got all special feature. I don't know if I should be watching that at 11 o'clock at night and then going to sleep. So I may watch that tomorrow in the daytime when scary things can't get me. I've also got another film from 2008 called Bad Biology, which again is a grimy, nasty horror film. Again, I don't think I'll watch that. So I think I'll probably dig into my physical media and just rewatch like an old classic-y movie. I don't like calling things like Heat and whatnot old because I saw them at cinema. It's not old. Just season. I don't know, something.
I want to go back and rewatch The Butterfly Effect as well as Donnie Darko, because they're just really good. And somebody had sent me a link to an article about Butterfly Effect and why they because there's the theatrical version with the happy ending, and then there's my
and then there's the one the other one.
Exactly. And so there's a but then there's the better version, and but there's just so much the dude's trying so damn hard to set things right. It's just it's a very dark yet good movie. And then it's funny, Jake Gyllenhaal is the I think he has been mentioned even more than Neil today. Roadhouse, and now we're talking about Donnie Darko. So,
Donnie Darko
with his sister.
Amazing. Have you ever watched the sequel? The sequel's terrible. Don't.
It's
awful.
It's dreadful. I tried. I got excited, and because I was like, that was back before I knew that all cheap knockoff sequels sucked. And Disney should have taught me that with the kids. It's like Pocahontas 2. No. There's a whole host of them. And but anyway, I won't even get into that. But yeah, I should have learned. But I was like, man, I can't wait to check this out. Wait, it's chicks now.
It's
and
awful.
The story is what? Yeah.
And with Donnie Darko, we talked about theatrical versus director's cut. Theatrical is better than the extended cut of Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko, they did the extended one. I don't know how involved Richard Kelly was, but it's not as good.
Wow, man. I know I've seen that, but I can't remember what was different or whatever. But yeah, I do tend to go with the theatrical version on that one. But that's just too cool, man. That was both those movies, especially Donnie Darko. That was stuff. Once my kids were old enough, I was like, you got to check this out. This is cool. So,
do you know that the UK was responsible for making Donnie Darko as popular as it was? So
really?
It was. So obviously the film got made. The film was shown in the US Unlimited. It didn't really do much. It came over to the UK. People watched it at film festivals and stuff. They really liked it, and then they released the Mad World cover version. By Thinky Jules. Can't remember his first name, but they released that. That was huge. That was huge in the UK. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, that song's amazing!" And then it was the sheer enthusiasm for Donnie Darko over here in England that then made the film rise up again after sort of a less than ecstatic opening in the US. But Donnie Darko was amazing. I love that film.
Yeah. It's funny because the original Tears for Fears version of Mad World is so much slower and that's Michelle's favorite. I like the other one better, mainly because of Donnie Darko and the promo for Gears of War 1. It was just so dank and dark and creepy, and you just felt like you really wanted to join the cogs and go after, you know, these beasts that have sprung forth from the ground. And but it's funny how we'll hear a song that's fresh to us. We haven't heard the original, and then the original is the knockoff. The original is the one that holds no ground. So
yep, it's weird. But yeah, I think I might dig out Donnie Darko and rewatch that pretty soon.
Yeah,
because I haven't seen it for a while. I've got the Blu-ray, so it's got both versions on it. But I'm just not going to bother with the extended one. I will just watch the theatrical.
Gotcha. I got when we've had this discussion before, but and I enjoy having the physical media, but I don't always enjoy going through the bins trying to find which one has this movie that I'm wanting to see. So quite often I'll just, you know, buy the $15 version on Vudu, and then that way it's always there for me to watch. But
is it though? Is it though? Is it always there? Studios are teaching us, John, that it may not always be there.
Right. Well, so is The Walking Dead, although, you know.
Go on to Paramount Plus and watch some Star Trek. You will find out it's not there anymore. The Star Trek movies are going.
No way. I wonder who's picking them up, because I know some of the DC stuff is going to Netflix. But it is interesting, man. You would think that Warner Brothers would want to keep all their stuff on Max, but that's not the case. So everything is just being distributed again. And so if you want to go on a Batman bender, you've got to have 3 different subscriptions to be able to, see them all.
Or just go out and buy the discs like I do. And then you could you can walk into your hallway and you've got a big shelf with not all of your Blu-rays and DVDs on, but a hefty amount. You can go, ooh, Jerry Maguire, put that on. And I'll sit and watch it.
So I think I told you that I took my Blu-rays out of this area and put regular books out, man, books that I enjoyed reading or whatever, and thinking that I would just, roll my chair over there and grab a book off the shelf and start reading it, and that hasn't happened. So no. I'm kind of wondering if I should have left the Blu-rays out.
You should have them staring at you, because then when you walk up the stairs or you walk out the room, they're there in front. You're like, oh, which version of Alexander by Oliver Stone should I watch? I own 3 of those on DVD, 3 different versions.
Really?
So, and I like them all, but
Yeah.
I have a whole shelf filled with Oliver Stone films. It's like, oh damn, it's a lot of movies, that guy.
So, that comes down to the organization. Do you put them in alphabetical order based upon title, or is it random? The director? Yeah, random.
No, they're generally random because I have some box sets. It's like, well, you're not going to chop them up and put them in order.
Yeah.
And I have them randomized. Sometimes I'll just go shuffle them around, because I've got more DVDs and Blu-rays than shelf space. So sometimes I'll just take a whole load off, or when I've watched it, I'll put it in a box, take something out, put it on, and so I'm just always circulating my my movie watching. But I'm enjoying doing it this way, because when else would I have watched the 1976 King Kong?
Yep, definitely. I do have both those on Blu-ray, so I am ready for the the zombie apocalypse. But yeah, man, and that was, I guess, if there was a fun side to me swapping out books for movies, it was looking at all the movies that had gathered dust, but yet I still own them.
Yeah.
So
I saw much Tron Legacy just at the end of the year. I still love that movie. It's a great film.
Yeah,
it's a physical disc, and it goes.
Yeah, and that was the second one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty good. I don't know why so many people hated it.
Internet hates everything.
Yeah.
But hopefully the internet will love this podcast and we'll tell everybody how amazing it is. So, but yeah, I will let you go for now, because we've hit our usual time. So the dogs will need feeding or something like that. But
they're all asleep, man. This has been a magical afternoon. I was actually ready at 4, and all the dogs have been really good because I have 2 senior dogs, and you never know when, they're going to drop something on the floor. So yeah.
Well, thankfully they didn't. That would be the ultimate feedback,
Right.
wouldn't it? Dog takes a shit during a podcast.
That's it. And
the
somebody would
worst
say,
thumbs down ever.
"What is this? Like Ms. This is like the Marvels?" I take that back. I want to clarify. Ms. Marvel was great. The TV series, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The movie, okay. Just wanted to clarify. And the movie gives you false hope in the start because the graphics start popping up, because it's, right around that character, Ms. Marvel. Good Lord, I can't remember the character's name. But anyway,
Kamala Khan, or is that the character?
Thank you. You are right, man. Dead on it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll probably watch. I'll watch it at some point. It's fine.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm sure they're going to try to, build something off of it, but at least they weren't so promo heavy, kind of like, oh, here's Daredevil from the upcoming series, although it would have been good to see Charlie Cox in it, but whatever, man. I can wait. And Echo is really good if you haven't seen it yet.
Okay. I may check that out.
Again, the internet dweebs hated it, but I thought it was great, and everything that they brought up about it, I countered it. I was like, anyway, so worth a watch, and it makes me excited for what they're doing with Daredevil Born Again, because it's going to be badass. Yeah.
Good. At some point, I'll catch up with Marvel. I won't, but it's nice to say it just in case. It may happen. Right. In 2016, you said you wanted an Indiana Jones fedora. Now I'm saying I'll catch up with Marvel. Clearly, none of those things are ever going to come to pass. Right. So, But I shall let you go for now, John. But you enjoy the rest of your day.
You do the same. And it's been a blast catching up as always. And I look forward to the next time.
Fantastic. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye. I was going to say ciao. Maybe I need to change that up.
You can say ciao. Well, we'll say ciao. We'll bring it back. Ciao. There we go. See you later. Aloha.
Starting and ending. Yeah, man. All right. See you
later. Bye.